However, Ifunanya did not listen, but brought food to him again the next day, and the day after, and also the day that followed, despite Tobena's objections. Then one day, Ifunanya sent food to him again, but this particular day, she did not bring it herself, but sent their housemaid Chica to bring it. Toena sat where he was, looking confused because the girl being presented to him as Ifunanya does not seem like the same girl he had met a week ago. Toena is the only son of a wealthy and influential man in the village of Ain called Chief Agu. However, Chief Agu is late, but his family and household are still very well respected. Toena had been away in Canada since he was 15. Even when his father had died, he couldn't return and attend his father's burial, though he wanted so much to, because at that time, he was writing an important examination. After his father's death, his mother managed all the family's properties and wealth while he was away. And just when he returned back to Nigeria, his mother fell ill and died 2 days later. Well, the truth was that she had actually been sick for a long time, but had kept it away from him until he returned. Now, before Tobena's mother died, she told Toena of her and his father's desire for him to marry the first daughter of one Mr. Anayo. Her name is Ifunanya. She is a very good girl. She is smart and kind and has an aura of good luck. I and your father believe that she would make a good wife for you and would support you to carry on our family business and legacy. Tobena's mother told Toena. Before your father passed, he made me promise that I would make you understand and accept Ifunanya as your life partner. And now, I want you to promise me that you would honor I and your father's wish and marry Ifunanya Anayo, his mother requested. Toena had always trusted his parents' judgments, and every decision they had made and taken for him over the years always turns out to be the best for him. But on this issue about the girl he should marry, he felt some sort of way, as he believes that a man should choose whom he truly loves and wants to marry. To make his dying mother happy, he promised her that he was going to do as they say and marry Ifunanya. But deep down, Toena knew that this was a promise he may not going to keep, as he is determined to marry only a girl he truly loves. One day, Toena was going round to inspect his father's lands and cash crop farms when he got stung by a scorpion in one of the farms. The farm manager, who was showing him around, rushed to help him up, but unfortunately did not see a huge stone which was lying on the way and kicked it. He also fell and cried out in pain, and this rendered the two of them helpless. Just then, a young girl carrying some firewood passed by. She saw Toena and the manager lying on the ground helpless, and then she stopped to help. With the little knowledge about some few herbs she knew, she was able to weaken the poison from the scorpion sting Toena suffered, and also stop the bleeding of the farm manager. Later, she and the farm manager carried Toena to the traditional healer's hut so he would be properly treated. Now, all through this time, Toena was aware of what was going on and that a strange girl was helping him and his farm manager. But he had felt dizzy as a result of the scorpion sting, and so his vision was blurry all the while, which made him not able to properly see the face of the girl helping him. But he was grateful and decided in his heart that he was going to reward the girl as a way to appreciate her for helping him. So, when the girl was about to leave the traditional healer's hut after taking him there, he decided to ask for her name so he would be able to find her later and appreciate her since he could not see her face properly right now. Please tell me your name, the compound and family you come from so that I can find you later, he said faintly with his eyes still dim. My name is Ifunanya. My father's name is Mr. Anayo, and you can find me by just asking for Mr. Anayo's compound, the girl replied. Toena couldn't believe it. Did she say her name is Ifunanya Anayo? The same Ifunanya Anayo his mother had told him about, and the one they wished for him to marry. Even the description to her house she gave was also the same description his mother had given him. Oh, now I know why my parents want me to marry her. Indeed, she is a good person with a kind heart, Toena said in his heart. Thank you, Ifunanya. I promise to look for you and visit you when I get better, Toena said to Ifunanya with his eyes still closed. And so, from that time, Toena had cause to believe that his parents were right about their decision once again, and he decided to give it a try and marry the Ifunanya Anayo girl. But right now, as he sat there in Mr. Anayo's house, he had doubts about the girl who is sitting right before him and who is being presented to him as Ifunanya. Though he wasn't able to see clearly the face of the girl who had helped him a week back, his instincts told him that the girl sitting before him and smiling sheepishly is not his Ifunanya. I am sorry, ma, if I may sound rude, but please, is this really Mr. Anayo's house? And is this your first daughter, Ifunanya Anayo? Toena asked Mrs. Anayo. Yes, my dear Toena, this is my first daughter, Ifunanya Anayo. As a matter of fact, she is not just my first daughter, but my only daughter, Mrs. Anayo said, assuring Toena that the girl he was looking at is the girl he had come to look for. Toena requested to see and speak to Mr. Anayo directly for confirmation, but he was shown a sick Mr. Anayo who was on a sick bed and could barely mutter any word. When he was leaving his house for Mr. Anayo's house that afternoon, Toena had been excited and was eager to meet and finally have a clear view of the Ifunanya who had helped him. But now, he was disappointed. I have to go now. I would visit some other time, Toena said to Mrs. Anayo, and was about stepping out of their house when a young girl walked in carrying a basket full of vegetables. The girl hurriedly greeted Toena and disappeared into another room in the house. Who is she? Toena asked Mrs. Anayo. Oh, that's one. That is Chica, our maid, Mrs. Anayo replied. Okay, Toena said and left. And after he left, he changed his mind about marrying Ifunanya Anayo and made up his mind never to visit their house again. 2 days later, after his visits, Ifunanya visited his home with a basket containing some cooked food. Toena accepted the food from her and appreciated her, but asked her not to bother next time. However, Ifunanya did not listen, but brought food to him again the next day, and the day after, and also the day that followed, despite Toena's objections. Then one day, Ifunanya sent food to him again, but this particular day, she did not bring it herself, but sent their housemaid Chica to bring it. Chica was a very beautiful girl and soft-spoken. Her calm demeanor and the manner in which she greeted and spoke to Toena when she delivered the food made Toena attracted to her immediately. Moreover, Toena felt there was more to Chica than he could tell. When she spoke, somehow he felt he had heard a similar voice before, but he was not sure until later when she had left, was when he could recall that her voice sounded like that of the girl who had helped him when he got stung by a scorpion. Immediately he was able to place the voice, he ran to Mr. Anayo's house, even though he had made up his mind that he was not going to ever go there again. Now, instead of Ifunanya, Toena asked for Chica when he got to their house, and when she greeted him and spoke to him again, Toena was more convinced than ever that she was the girl who had helped him. Your voice sounds like the girl who had helped me in the farm a few weeks ago. But the name of that girl was Ifunanya Anayo. So tell me the truth. Is your name really Chica or Ifunanya? Toena asked Chica. What he said made Ifunanya and her mother, Mrs. Anayo, very angry. What are you trying to say? Why are you forcing her to accept who she is not? Ifunanya snapped at Toena. Toena left feeling more confused than ever. The next day, Toena visited the Anayo's house again, but this time with his farm manager, the one who was with him on the day of the scorpion incident. He went with him because he wants him to help him identify if the Ifunanya presented to him is the same one who had helped him on that day, seeing that the manager's case was not as severe as his own and he did see the face of the girl. Well, to Tobena's disappointment again, the farm manager confirmed that the Ifunanya presented to him is the same person as the one who had helped him on the farm. Tobena decided not to push any further, but still maintained in his heart that he was never going to marry or have anything to do with the Ifunanya because she was sassy and rude. But he liked their maid Chica and wanted to get close to her. However, Chica was forbidden and warned by Mrs. Anayo to never go close to Tobena. As for Ifunanya, she kept going to Tobena's house and tried forcing herself on him. On several occasions, she kept confessing her undying love for him and would not stay away from his house even when Tobena paid her no attention. One day, Mrs. Anayo and Ifunanya heard from a reliable source that Tobena had lost all his father's properties and lands to the state government. He had made a bad investment and lost all his money and all that he had. As if that was not enough, a week later, he was involved in a ghastly motor accident on his way back from the local government secretariat, and this affected his spinal cord and made him unable to walk again. Tobena started using a wheelchair. Now, after Ifunanya and her mother learned about Tobena's loss and his condition, they lost interest. Ifunanya stopped going to Tobena's house. One day, Tobena visited Ifunanya's house in a wheelchair and begged that he needed her now, since after all, she had been professing an undying love for him. But Ifunanya told him that she never loved him but had only wanted to be with him because of his wealth and his money. But now that he had lost everything and was now a cripple, she was no longer interested. She and her mother mocked Tobena and sent him away from their house. Meanwhile, Chica, who had witnessed the whole thing, felt pity for Tobena, and so, every day she goes out to fetch firewood or run some errands, she would seize the opportunity to stop by at Tobena's house to help him clean and to cook. She fed him and told him jokes and stories to keep him happy and to give him hope. This went on for some time. One day, Tobena visited the Anayo's house again on his wheelchair. He told them that he was there this time around to seek for permission to marry Chica. Mrs. Anayo and Ifunanya laughed at him so hard when they heard the reason why he was there. Anyways, with this your miserable condition, it is only a maid that befits you, Mrs. Anayo said mockingly. Then, Ifunanya said something that Tobena had been itching to hear. By the way, the person whom you think her name is Chica is the real Ifunanya. I am the one who is Chica. I and my mother only decided that I pretend to be Ifunanya when my father told us that the late Chief Agu promised him that his son, which you are, was going to marry his first daughter Ifunanya. So, I and my mother decided that we cannot let my miserable half-sister get married to a rich man while I remain here. But seeing that you are now poor and have become a cripple, what is the use of pretending to be Ifunanya? Ifunanya. Oh, sorry. I mean Chica, the fake Ifunanya said. And this is true. Chica, or the real Ifunanya, was not a maid, but is Mr. Anayo's first daughter and Mrs. Anayo's stepdaughter. She was born by Mr. Anayo's second wife, whom Mr. Anayo married when his first wife was yet to bear children for many years. Out of bitterness, Mrs. Anayo hated her husband's second wife. Then luckily for her, she was able to bear her husband a child after many years, and after the second wife first bore him a daughter, which was Ifunanya. Her bitterness made her hate and maltreated Ifunanya after Ifunanya's mother died. So, when she learned that her husband was planning to give Ifunanya to rich Chief Agu's son as his wife, she poisoned her husband and made him sick, leaving him bedridden for months. She also threatened Ifunanya to never reveal the truth about her identity to Tobena, else she would kill her. As for the farm manager, it was Mrs. Anayo's best friend's brother, and they got him to support their lie, promising to reward him greatly when their plan materializes. Now, after the actual Chica revealed her true self, Tobena smiled and to their shock and amazement, he stood up from his wheelchair. Well, Toena was not crippled and had actually not lost any of his properties and land. It was all staged to get Chica and her mother off his back. He suspected and could tell that they were gold diggers who were only interested in his wealth, and so he decided to put up the act. But what he didn't know was how far they went in stealing Ifunaya's real identity and also poisoning Mr. Anayo. Toena alerted the village head, and Mrs. Anayo and her daughter were thrown into the prison for poisoning Mr. Anayo. Toena got a good doctor to treat Mr. Anayo, and weeks later, Toena married the real Ifunaya, whom his parents wished for him to marry, and most importantly, whom he naturally fell in love with. The end. I hope you enjoyed the story and have learned a thing or two from it. I would love to know. Please leave a comment. Thank you for watching and see you in our next video. Bye.